I got out for about the last half an hour before sunset. The sun's closing shop around 5:30, 5:45 at the moment, so only a little window after work. It's bloody bucketing down with rain, and I'm chasing some Tailor. It's actually pretty good wind for it right now, even though the rain is pelting down. Also the tide is up, which is great for this spot. If you're keen to fish when the weather's pretty shit house, you can have the spot to yourself and catch more fish. I've come to really like this 9'2" Veritas. It's 6 to 10 kilos, but you still got a lot of flex. Originally I had it paired up with the 6000 reel that it came with in a combo, and it just wasn't doing it for me. Once I paired it up with a 4000, I actually really rate this rod. It gives you a lot of flex, and you can still cast out those sort of lighter 25 gram up lures. And I was using the Monsoon Breaker Zipbaits. This is a 29 gram lure, so when I'm casting it out, I'm casting in pretty shallow rocky area here, so I'm not giving it that long to sink because I don't want it to snag up. I've taken off the trebles and gone a 1/0 single hook at the back. This is way more snag proof. The tip of the single is pointing up to the sky so that it can roll over the top of the rock. I'm fishing some pretty reefy, gnarly area, so I'm giving it a bit of stick to pull it in, and I'll try and tire it out close to the shore where I know that it can just swim up and down the edge. So I've probably got a tiny bit tighter drag than I usually would if it was just a, I guess, reefless beach. I'm also keeping the tip of my rod a little bit higher than I usually would until it gets to the section where I know there's no reef, which will be right at the end, and you'll see me put the rod tip down and sort of drag it up the beach so it doesn't breach. Beautiful Tailor on the Monsoon Breaker. I don't know, it's just because I use these lures at this time, but during overcast or stormy conditions I always like the gold or those really bright lures. I hope the old boy's not watching this. This is his 11 and I drop in the sand. I always try and bleed my Tailor, especially if I'm going to smoke them up. It just makes the flesh a lot more wider and you have a lot less of that excess blood to cut out. I was pretty happy with the Tailor I got, but I thought I'd try and catch the last 10 minutes of light and then pack up. I had to get home to put the daughter to bed. This big bastard hit the bloody lure about 5 to 10 metres from the shore. I knew it was a decent one as soon as it hooked up. It was pretty erratic, so I just had to maintain pressure on it as much as I could. It was going up to the surface trying to shake out the hook. I had the same drag set up as the previous fish, and I could feel quite a lot of weight on it, so I knew it was a decent one. I'm just following the fish up the beach and maintaining pressure on it. When it moves the other way, I maintain pressure and follow back. I don't want to give it too much line. It's in nice and close and I don't want it to go anywhere near that reef. I originally thought it was going to be a bunted Tailor, but to my surprise it was a salmon or a kawai. The crazy bastard flicked a load of sand right in my eye there. This was definitely going in the smoker, and more important than Tailor is to bleed salmon. It's an absolute must. Gotta love a Perth Metro salmon. It's my first of the season. Leaving it real late. This chunky fella came in around 63, 64, so he's probably a resident, but on the bigger resident side. Definitely going to smoke him up though. So I filleted all the fish, and then the next day, when they firmed up a bit, I proceeded to chop off all the red meat. So this is all the bloodlines plus all the fast twitch muscle fibre. So when you skin a salmon, it's really important you take off all this red meat because it doesn't taste that great. It sort of ruins the rest of the flesh. But once you take off all the red meat, it's actually not too bad. Still got quite a pungent odour when you cook it, but when you smoke it up, that odour goes away and you're left with a beautifully firm smoked fish. I kept one of the Tailor fillets for bait, and then I used the other one to smoke up as well. And for the dry rub, I used 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of powdered pepper, and that was it. Rub it all over the fillets. I've got a bag of this red flesh as well. You can use it for brim bait or use it for your burley, but as you can see, it's not very appetizing. If you leave those fillets for about 10 minutes, that salt will draw out the moisture. And if you look at the next picture, you'll see that they're, I guess, nice and wet. If you don't want too much sugar, you can wipe a bit of it off before you put it on the smoker. I don't really mind because I'm going to put it in my pasta and give it a little bit of sweetness. So I've just got some coals cranking. You can use whatever sort of smoker you want. This is just one of those cheap Bunnings ones. So this is on at about, I guess, 120 Celsius or 150. The only time you would ever use spray oils just to make sure it's non-stick. So I've just sprayed the grates here so I can take the fish off without it getting stuck on. As you can see, without the red meat on them, they look quite nice. I'll put in the applewood chips probably about every 15 minutes. If you've got a chunk of applewood, that's even better. I only had chips today, so I just had to keep on adding them every sort of 15 minutes. I was watching the footy, so I got a bit carried away, but 40 minutes is probably about right for these fillets. I cooked these for an hour. Still great. The fillets were beautiful. Got that nice red colour, and they went absolutely perfectly with my olive oil and garlic sauce. I cook this dish a lot, but it's literally one of my favourite foods to eat. So I usually have a sautéed onion and garlic and whatever the veggies I have in the fridge. And then I have really good quality olive oil, butter and some pasta. Add in some dill and all that chopped up, lovely smoky fish. You can't go wrong. Thanks for watching. Any questions? Feel free to hit me up in the comments below.